Most people think that if you have a better quality camera and more expensive lens, then your image overall is going to look better. However, one thing that most streamers and content creators kind of overlook is lighting. So today we're going to be talking about lights and different types of lighting you can use for your content creation and your live streams. My name is Andrew, I'm a filmmaker, content creator, and a streamer on Twitch. If you're enjoying these videos, remember to give me a like down below, subscribe to the channel for more, and also follow me on all my social medias, which I'll put in the doobly-doo down below. Right, before we get started, I kind of have to sort this set out because, well, I'm using 7 lights to shoot this one shot right now, and it's a little bit overkill for what we're trying to do here.
Much better.
I can actually see what I'm doing now, and also just because I say you should light an image doesn't mean you should throw the entire sun at it. There is such a thing as having too much light. Obviously, there are lots of different types of lights out there. However, there are 4 main types of lights that you want to consider when making content for YouTube or Twitch or whatever. These types of lights though are softboxes, ring lights, LED panels, or practicals, and I'll explain what they are a little bit later on. First things first, I might as well talk about the light that I'm using currently. This is a softbox, and if you don't really know what a softbox is, that kind of is implied within the name. It's a big box that has some diffusion along the front of it, so the light passes through it and makes it nice and soft, so it'll wrap around the subject of what you're shooting. Hence why I get this nice soft light here, but also have a little bit of shadow, which isn't super harsh on one side of my face. Softboxes are amazing. They're used for many things. They're used in films, they're used in interviews. Obviously, a lot of people use them on Twitch and YouTube as well because they give a nice flattering light, they brighten up your scene, and honestly, I love mine. I think it's my favorite kind of lighting compared to all the other ones, but obviously everything's subjective and you can kind of decide what you like for your stream or videos. As an added note as well, not all lights have to be super expensive to get a good image. I know there are some super expensive ones out there, like £1,000 up to 10 grand for really professional stuff, but this one specifically that I'm using cost me £35 off Amazon, and as you can see, it really does the job. It looks very nice, creates a nice flattering image, and honestly, I'm very happy with how it looks for my stream and videos. If you're interested in any of the equipment that I'm going to be talking about today, then please feel free to check out the description down below. I'll put some links there so you can check out the equipment yourself, see how expensive it is, and see which is best for you and your content and streams. Moving on to our second type of light, and that is one of these lights. This is formerly known as a ring light, and obviously it gets the name because it's a giant circle of light. These are very popular on YouTube in the beauty and makeup communities, mostly because, well, they give a giant soft light on your face, they hide a lot of the blemishes, and also they're very popular because they give you that weird like circular highlight in your eyes. I'm sure you've seen that before if you've ever seen any photos or video on the internet. People absolutely love that style, and I'm going to show you why. So as you can see here, this is a ring light. This is the image it produces. It's a nice soft diffused light. It gives you nice like smooth looking skin, and it helps to hide a lot of the blemishes and wrinkles, hence why it's very popular in the beauty and makeup community. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of this look. I find it to be very flat looking. The light itself doesn't really create any shadows, so it makes your image look a little bit more 2D looking. Whereas if you have a soft light, which I've turned off right now, but if you have that on instead, you can shape it so that your face has shadows on it and it looks a little bit more 3D and a little bit more cinematic, in my opinion. All this is subjective though. All this is subjective. So if you like the look of a ring light, then you pick up that. And if you like the look of a soft light or one of the other lights I'm going to mention, you get that instead. However, as you can see from this example as well, it does create these interesting looking highlights in my eyes, which some people seem to love. I don't personally, because I think it looks a little bit like I'm an alien or something, but you know, each to their own. Anyway, moving on to our next lights, the third set of lights, our LED panels. These have been very popular recently, especially with Elgato bringing out their key lights. They're the kind of go-to light for streamers and creators at the moment, mostly because of convenience and also the creativity type things you can do with it using the Stream Deck and whatnot as well. However, they're not the only type of LED lights. There are many other types of LED lights. They're kind of mid-range to high-end style ones. I guess they are a little bit more professional than some, but this here, the one that's been sat next to me this whole video, technically this is an LED light as well. So if you're really on the budget end of things, you can probably pick one of these ones up for about £20 or so. And as you can see, this one's battery powered, but I'm sure you can get ones that use AC power as well. Oh geez, right, as you can see though, these do still give off a fair bit of light. So if you're like really on a budget or you're struggling to find space in your room to light it properly, you can use this in a pinch and it'll probably look better. Well, it's definitely going to look better than having no light at all. Point proven here. This is exactly what it would look like with no light at all. But if I turn on this cheap LED light, as you can see now, it looks decent. It's lighting my face just fine. And to be honest, well, it's probably worth the £20 or so I paid for it, which isn't bad at all. However, I do not think it looks anywhere near as nice as my softbox. Yet again, this is me, alright, I'm realizing that I'm being a little bit biased towards my softbox, but I chose my softbox for a reason, because I think that is the nicest looking lighting out there, at least for me. You might not think of that, but at least for me. Right, the difference though, the softboxes are huge, they are massive. I've got a relatively small one and it's still like 2 or 3 feet tall, and obviously they're deep as well, because obviously you need the diffusion between the light and you. They take up a lot of space, whereas LED lights are half the way there in the softness a lot of the time, but they take up half, if not even less than the size. So they're a great space saving option if you want some kind of lighting, some quality lighting, but don't really have too much space. And that brings us on to our fourth and final type of lighting, which we're going to be talking about today, and that is practical light. I did say earlier on that I would explain what practical lights are. Well, practical lights are any light that you can see physically within your scene. So a good example of one of mine would be this here, the LED tube light that I have behind me, but also you can use LiFX or nano leafs or even a good old standard desk lamp like this one here. They are classed as practical lights and can be used to light your scene in a pinch. Let's be honest though, it's not exactly the most elegant of solutions when making videos and streaming. They have a couple of downsides and caveats to using practical lights, even though they are cheap. There are some issues with it. The main issue being that these aren't actually designed for film and photography, so they're not as bright as those type of lights. So even if you do have a good camera with a good lens, you're still going to end up with a noisy, grainy image sometimes because your shot will be relatively dark. Another issue with these lights are the color accuracy of them. They're not really designed for shooting people. They're designed to look good and entertaining and interesting to look at. So sometimes when you use them to shoot you, it makes your skin look a weird color because it give it a green cast or a purple cast, or it'll make you look washed out or something else. Either way, it's not going to make you look your best, and there are better options out there if you can afford it. The last and final issue with these type of lights is there's no real way to mount them or place them in a correct position to get an attractive angle and light on your face. Take this desk lamp for example, it's very short, so if I have it on my desk, sure, it'll light my face, but I've got to point it up at me, which will create shadows under my eyes and make me look a little bit like I'm in a horror film. Here's a quick example of what my desk lamp would look like if I used it to light my stream or videos. As you can see, it looks okay, it does the job, and I'm exposed correctly. However, it does create these harsh shadows on one side of my face. I've got the ones behind me on the wall as well, and also, as you can see, the color is completely different. I now look very orange, and that's not exactly the best look in my opinion. However, if I change a couple of camera settings and modify the light a little bit, I can make this image go from this to this, which honestly I'm very happy with. Obviously, it doesn't look quite as good as when I use the professional lights and stuff, but it's like 90% of the way there, which is amazing for having not spent any money on anything. The only things I really changed was I changed the white balance and the exposure settings on the camera, and also I added some fabric in front of the light itself to soften the shadows up. Well, I say fabric, it's actually like an old pillowcase that I don't really use anymore, but by doing that it's actually softening the shadows up. So as you can see on the left side of my face, the shadows aren't as harsh as they was earlier on, and also the shadows behind me on the wall have now disappeared, so everything just looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing and, well, more professional. Just a word of warning though, basically don't do this if you're using the old style tungsten lamps. You will burn your house down. If you're using the modern LED ones that don't really get too hot when you're using them, by all means use fabric and stuff in front of it. But if you're using the old style tungsten ones that get super hot, you're going to need some real diffusion paper, which I will put a link to down below so you don't burn your house and die. Anyway, we're back to the old setup now. As you can see, it looks really good, but it isn't actually that far different between this and the desk lamp and fabric option. Obviously, it costs a lot more, but the convenience factor and the speed and time and stuff is kind of cut down, so it's kind of worth the money for me. But if you don't have that money, you can definitely get good quality from a lot cheaper stuff. I should probably make a video at some point about cheap lighting and getting the most out of what you have in your house compared to buying stuff, because not everyone can afford to buy this equipment. So if you're interested in that kind of video, leave me a comment down below and I'll try and make one in the future. Thanks for watching today though, I appreciate it as always. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and it kind of explained to you the difference difference between different types of lighting, and it helped you choose what you need or what you would like for your stream at some point in the future. It's been a pleasure as always though. Remember to drop me a comment down below, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'll see you on the next one though. Night Owl out. Peace! Oh, you're getting flanked. There's a guy coming to your left. 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 Left.
Who's left?
You're left. We're both left. We're both facing the same way. How is it? Who's left?
Where's he gone?